Anyway, I'm Shaman,
I'm Tony.
and we are here from Harper Therapy, and it's a new month,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to be talking about a whole new subject. So last month we talked about couples and particularly infidelity with Alejandra, and this month we're switching gears to teens.
Woohoo! Yay, teens!
And Tony will be with us all month to talk about teens. So
yeah, apparently I am somewhat of a teen specialist.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're a big deal when it comes to teens.
apparently teens really like me.
They do. I think it's the blue hair.
I was just thinking that.
And in all fairness, a minute ago she was talking about getting a mohawk. So
Yeah, try to
are you gonna
be
do
cool. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It depends on what happens. I don't know. So, but I've always had a thing where like I could build a good relationship with teens. I worked for Department of Children and Families for 10 years, and I was one of the teen specialists where I would help the teens they would go from foster care into independent living. And so with that, you have to kind of teach them some life skills and help them with like opening a bank account or getting a job and balancing their checkbook and all of that.
how to stand on your own feet.
Yes.
Bit, right?
Yes, and especially how to do it without having an adult to go to, because
Right.
at 18, as a case manager, I was done.
Right.
So who could they lean on in life? So that really helped me, and I would find that if I was just honest and respected kids, it got me a lot further than if I tried to go in there and be like, I'm the
Right.
adult and here I come to tell you what to do.
Right, but that's the cycle that like most of us families fall into, right? Well,
Yes.
do it because I said do it, and I'm the adult, right? And
Absolutely.
teens are like a whole different ball game than like adolescent young kids, where you just are like, no, because I said so, and they're like, oh, you're in charge, right?
Right. They just, and I think it's really hard to turn that switch off as a parent and be like, oh, okay, now they're a teenager, so now I have to parent differently. And because I said so is not a good enough reason.
Right. All of a sudden, you have like these beings who can think, and they can make judgments. And the weird thing is in most part, we're asking them to do that in their lives, right?
Right.
But we're not allowing them to do it.
Well, and we're not necessarily teaching them how, because by telling them because I said so,
Right.
they don't understand the why behind it. They don't. We assume that, oh, well, you know, I understood it when I was a kid. When my parents told me because I said so, I believed it. And look, here I am as a therapist. I turned out pretty good. We can keep doing that. But in all honesty, that's not giving the tools that they need to make those choices. So that's where, when I'm working with a teen, I do family sessions a lot of the times, and working with a teen, we talk about respect and building trust and expectations. And one of the biggest things I see is that the teens don't understand that. They understand that, okay, well, I have to earn my parents' trust, but what does trust mean?
Right.
And learning how to define that.
Right.
So usually when I'm meeting with a family, I bust out Brene Brown's Braving acronym.
Big thing around here.
Yeah, very popular, because it teaches you about trust, and it uses the acronym Braving. B is for boundaries, R is reliability, A is accountability, V is vault, I is integrity, N is non-judgment, and G is generosity.
I'm
There'll be a
impressed you
quiz
got
on
through
this
that
later.
whole thing, because I'm like, I don't remember.
Yeah, I say it a lot.
Right.
But by reviewing that, it helps make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Right.
And then you're showing them, okay, my boundaries are, when you go to bed, I want your phone turned off at 10.
Right.
But why? Because I said so. No. Because I want to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep, because if you're on your phone too late, and explain, I mean, sometimes the kids just hear you going, womp, but somewhere it is sinking in.
Right.
And then explaining to them, if you break their boundary, if they say, hey, I want privacy, or a big thing I'm hearing is grades. And because parents can check grades online, kids are like, I'm getting it done, but they keep annoying me about it. I just want them to trust that I did it.
Right.
See how trust came back up?
Right.
Like that?
Right.
So then if they go and check the grades, then being able to model to them, like, hey, I broke your boundary and I'm sorry. This is what made me feel that way.
Right.
And those are all big key things to help a teen learn how to use this in their adult life.
So it's like, you know, we hear a lot. I want to be able to communicate with my teen.
Yep.
Right. we're coming in because we need to figure out how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this process here. It's a whole family system, right?
Yep.
And we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Sure will.
But part of that family system is to foster communication.
Mm-hmm.
Parents, teens, siblings, the whole nine.
Yeah,
right?
Everyone gets involved.
Everybody gets involved. And it is kind of a situation where it does take a village.
Mm-hmm.
And that communication is what's going to kind of build a little bit of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then that trust is going to build more communication. And it's like that cycle. But what ends up happening a lot is the reverse cycle where we're not communicating, we don't trust, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And through using this BRAVING acronym, we can kind of combat that a little bit.
Yes, you start to build that foundation of how to get that trust. Like,
Right.
okay, making that simple boundary and following it, even for the kid, and even if it's as small as checking their grades and agreeing, like, hey, I'm only going to check your grades once a month.
Right.
That's building trust that, oh, hey, they do trust me to get my work done.
Right.
And that maybe if they are struggling, they'll come to you rather than hide it and sit there angry in their room because they're like, well, she's going to check my grades and find out anyway and won't even give me a chance to come to her.
Right.
Type of thing.
Right. And when kids are teens, we learn through failure, right? So, like, they're going to fail.
Yep.
You fail all the time. I do all the time. We
Yeah.
all do. And that's how we learn. And, giving kids a little bit of grace to do the same is important as well, right? Like, okay, we fell short of the mark, whatever that is, or we broke the boundary or whatever.
Right,
Let's
right.
pick it up and let's keep...
Right, let's talk about that, not avoid it. And listen, you might have some big emotions about it, and that's okay.
Right.
And then talking to your kiddo about it, like, hey, maybe I blew up at you a little too much the other day. I felt shame because you failed, and I'm worried I'm not doing something right. Walking through that, listen, as parents, nobody knows what they're doing.
Right.
Nobody knows. We're all screwing up our kids in some way or another. So just trying to communicate that with your kids and say, hey, let's work on this together.
Right.
Because then you want them at 18 to walk out and be a functioning human and adult,
Absolutely.
adult in the world. But really, you've held their hand and did
right.
everything for them.
How do you expect them to be that adult and that functioning adult if they've never had the ability to kind of step into that,
right.
And that requires building communication and trust.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to be doing this all month. So if you need some help and support with communicating with your team, you can give us a call at 813-434-3639, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.